men should not be playing in women's sports.
What happened on a Minnesota high school sports team?
The issue here is men playing in women's sports.
The debate over trans athletes in women's sports has reignited national controversy, with voices like Riley Gaines, Simone Biles, Clay Travis, and Piers Morgan weighing in. From accusations of hypocrisy to concerns over fairness and biology, this heated issue is drawing lines across political and cultural divides. Here's a breakdown of the most viral and polarizing moments that have the entire country talking.
And I'm supposed to care about what happened on a Minnesota high school sports team.
Yeah, you are.
Like, how is this?
Yeah, you
how
are.
is this a national issue?
On this issue, the Riley Gaines Simone Biles thing, I was astonished by Simone Biles, the way she talked to Riley Gaines, and also the way she then basically body shamed her, having made a career in the last few years of standing up against body shaming. I thought the whole thing was a real misstep by Simone Biles. But to hear someone like Eric Swalwell, who clearly is positioning himself potentially one day to maybe lead the Democrats, again saying, hey, nobody cares about this and we need an honest conversation. But about what? I mean, the conversation has been had.
Yeah, it's an honest conversation that men should not be playing in women's sports. And I think that's why Representative Swalwell's party and himself, they're lying to the American public.
The Riley Gaines versus Simone Biles debate sparked national outrage after Biles, a vocal advocate against body shaming, appeared to body shame Gaines. Critics called it a major misstep. Meanwhile, Rep. Eric Swalwell dismissed the issue, but many argue it highlights a real concern: men competing in women's sports. To them, ignoring it is dishonest.
If it's truly not an issue, I love your example. They had hearings on steroids on Capitol Hill because they wanted to make sure that baseball was fair. Anytime, look, I coach Little League sports. I am a parent. I've got 3 boys. We had, when I was 8, 9-year-olds that I was coaching, we had some girls on the team with the boys because pre-puberty, it's not an issue. Guess what? As soon as puberty happens, no women would win any sports. If we had a unisex Olympics, not one woman would win a medal. That's why the sexes are separated. So when you lie to me and say, well, we need to have a conversation, this is not complicated. If I decided that I was trans age, Piers, and I wanted to play Little League Baseball with 10-year-olds, I would be the greatest 10-year-old Little League Baseball player probably in the world, humbly, right now.
If this really isn't an issue, explain why Congress once held steroid hearings just to keep baseball fair. I coached Little League. Before puberty, boys and girls can compete equally. That's why we separate sexes in sports. Saying we need a conversation is just avoiding the truth. If I claim to be trans age and joined a 10-year-old baseball team, I dominate. And we all know that's absurd.
Every parent would say this is unacceptable because of the purpose of competition. The fact that Democrats have allowed themselves to be on this side, when the majority of Democrat voters, 67% New York Times, 94% of Republicans, 79% overall, when you're on the wrong side of an 80-20 issue, they don't trust you on any other issue. Grocery prices that he kept trying to come back to, whatever else. They just don't buy in. And I have to do this, Pierre. Sorry to say it. I love your show. My show starts in 4 minutes.
You gotta go,
so
Clay.
I'm going to bail.
Really appreciate it.
And Riley's on with me in a half hour.
Brilliant.
I appreciate it. Keep killing it. Sorry to bail.
Take care,
but
Clay.
love you guys.
I really appreciate it. I know you had a hard out. Thank you very much indeed. Let's bring in the other panelists here. I mean, come on, Krystal. Can we at least agree on this, that this is preposterous, that Democrat politicians are still trying to say we've got to have an honest conversation, when what they really want to do is shut down any honest conversation, because the only obvious conclusion of any conversation is it's wrong.
Clay argues that allowing biological males in women's sports goes against the basic purpose of fair competition, something most Americans, including 67% of Democrats and 94% of Republicans, oppose. He criticizes Democratic leaders for being on the wrong side of an overwhelming public opinion, making them less trustworthy on other issues.
I'm not here to carry water for any particular Democrat, but think about the topics we're covering today, okay? You have the president coming close to declaring an insurrection and calling in the National Guard on American citizens. You have an oligarch who bought the last election, accusing the president of being a pedophile. You have the Trump administration having completely upended the economic order with the tariff regime. And I'm supposed to care about what happened on a Minnesota high school sports team.
Yeah, you are.
Like, how is this?
Yeah, you
how
are.
is this a national issue?
Well,
and Piers,
you're
I
a
say
woman,
this. You may
and
not
you
know
should
this about
care.
me.
Sorry,
No,
hang on.
You may not know this
Hang
about
on,
me.
hang
I
on.
am a former
You should
Division
care.
I swimmer.
You should care about
So,
you should care about women's rights.
Okay,
Because
so
here's
let the
because
local
here's what. No, let me
rep
explain
league
to you,
work it out.
Krystal. Don't talk over me. Let me
How
explain.
is this a thing for a president?
Let me explain to you why you should care. Because only last week we had the story of Imran Khalif, who is an Algerian boxer who competed in the Paris Olympics, won the gold medal, had one of the opponents who was a Italian female boxer quit after 45 seconds because she'd never been hit that hard in her life. A lot of us, me included, pointed out that Imran Khalif had been banned from the World Championships for reportedly testing positive for male chromosomes, but was not banned from the Olympics, and was then beating up women in a boxing ring and winning the gold medal in a women's competition. Now, last week, we discovered from the leak report that absolutely Imran Khalif has male chromosomes. For all intents and purposes, Imran Khalif is a man, and a man should not be beating up women in a boxing ring in the Olympics.
So
when you take the view, that none of this matters,
them deal with it.
None of it
but
matters.
Here's the thing.
Actually,
You're
it does
missing
matter.
out, though. But Piers, here's what you are letting them off the hook for completely. We were told this is just about protecting kids and we just care. People can be whoever they are and we're not against trans people. This is just about protecting kids. Bullshit.
A panelist defended women's sports, citing Olympic boxer Imran Khalif, who reportedly has male chromosomes and beat female opponents to win gold. Critics say this isn't just about protecting kids, it's about fairness and safety. Letting biological men compete in women's sports undermines the integrity of competition, and people are finally speaking up.
As soon as President Trump got into power and all of these right-wing governors across the country, what do? They attack all trans people. So forgive me if I'm not going to join on the parade.
They didn't attack all trans people. They said trans people shouldn't be in women's sports.
To be in there and trying to live.
Right.
No, they're trying to ban them from the military. They're trying to take away their rights. They're trying to take away their civil rights. So to bury your head in the sand
not. They're trying
and
to
pretend
protect
like
women.
it's just about this niche issue.
All right, they're trying
of
to
who can play
protect. It's
one
not a
sports
niche
league.
issue.
It's nonsense.
And as I've just explained to you, women are now losing out on Olympic gold medals at the altar of this bullshit. Let me bring Brian in quickly.
How many high school trans athletes are there in the country?
Let me bring Brian in.
How many?
Brian, until
When
the
they
Democrats.
passed a law in
Hang
Utah,
on,
there
Krystal,
was
stop talking.
One in the whole state.
Krystal, stop talking. Brian, let me bring you in here. Until the Democrats.
Krystal, I'm talking as Piers Morgan has talked over her for the last several minutes, right? And she's trying to make points.
Democrats sort out this issue, I promise you it's going to be a stick to beat the Democrats with, and whoever leads the party, if they don't have a clear position on this, they're going to discover, exactly as Biden and Harris discovered, that actually it comes back and haunts them. It is a straightforward issue. I'm a liberal guy at heart, right? I'm not a right-winger. I'm not a Republican, not a conservative here in the UK.
Yeah.
But even I can see this is ridiculous, this whole debate. And to say nobody cares is
Piers,
nonsense.
A heated debate erupts over trans participation in sports and civil rights. One side argues Republicans are attacking all trans people by banning them from the military and stripping rights. Piers Morgan warns Democrats that ignoring the issue will cost them politically, calling it a straightforward concern most voters care about, regardless of political leaning.
Yeah. So, Piers, I think you and I agree on a lot of social issues. We certainly agree on this one. I think it's pretty clear and cut to me. If you're born a man, transition to a woman, you should not be on the playing field with other women.
Right.
However, I will say this, MAGA Republicans like to make the argument, we care so much about kids and women's rights, yet geography now has a bearing over a woman's body. And they're telling women what to do with their bodies. Last I checked, trans people haven't killed anybody on the playing field. They don't want to talk about gun control. They don't want to talk about real women's rights and more important issues. I agree. Women, you're born a man, transition to a woman, you should not be on the playing field. By the way, most Democrats agree with us
I agree.
on this
They
issue
do,
as well.
yeah.
But it's not, yeah.
That's why Eric Spall was wrong. Okay, final word to you, Roger.
Boy, there's a lot of Trump derangement syndrome here. Let's take it part by part. There's no evidence whatsoever that Donald Trump
lot of
urged his
Trump
supporters
fellatio
to
syndrome
engage in
too,
violence.
Roger.
In fact, no. Let me talk this time. No, in fact, the two Twitter posts in which he said that disappeared. Secondarily, the issue here is men playing in women's sports. There is no constituency for that. No place in the country.
If you're born male, you shouldn't compete in women's sports, and most Democrats feel the same. But one critic calls out Republicans for hypocrisy, claiming to protect women and kids while ignoring broader women's rights and gun control. The discussion ends with Roger dismissing unrelated criticisms of Trump and refocusing on the core issue. There's no public support for men in women's sports anywhere.
And as
What's the
for
constituency
this idea
for pardoning
that
J6 copy?
that
No,
an
don't
oligarch
change the
is ruining the
subject.
Constituency for
economy,
that.
the increases in our revenue tariffs are up sharply. The cost of gasoline is down. The cost of eggs is down. Actually, I think Trump's economic plan's working incredibly well.
Okay, on that positive
So
note.
can I just say something real quick to Roger?
Very
Can
quick.
I just say something quick to
Very
Roger?
quick.
So Roger, you just said we have Trump derangement syndrome. You're the guy that's a 7-count convicted felon who Donald Trump pardoned, okay? So if there's anybody that wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7, it's you. You have TFS Trump fellatio syndrome.
You're right.
So don't
You're
say I
right.
have
When the
Trump
judge doesn't
derangement
allow
syndrome,
you
okay?
to, when the judge doesn't allow you to mount
here we
any
go.
defense, and when the judge withholds exculpatory evidence from
Yeah,
your trial
right.
in
You're
a
innocent,
Soviet-style
Roger.
show trial,
Right.
you go to trial
Right.
in D.C.
Okay, on
And by
that
the way,
less.
lose
You're
the
the
hat.
one with the derangement syndrome.
All right, on that less.
You're the one
less-
with the derangement
on
syndrome.
that less positive
Anytime,
note.
pal. Anytime.
On that less positive note, I'm now
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to
I
call an
care
end
what
to
you
this.
think about
Thank
my
you.
appearance, Roger. I
Thank
really
you
care.
all very much indeed. I appreciate it.
As emotions run high and public opinion grows louder, one thing is clear: the conversation around gender, fairness, and women's sports isn't going away anytime soon. Whether you see this as a civil rights matter or a threat to competitive integrity, the pressure is mounting. And sooner or later, political leaders will have to take a clear stand. So that's all. Thank you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. See you in the next one.